Hey guys, it's Exit Frag. We're going to be talking about team vitality, if it's a super team or not. I'm esports Andy. You probably know both of us, but and Zeph, of course, here always. Is team vitality a super team? And maybe also like, who are the super teams this year? Like, who can be really chalked up as a super team?
So, not a lot of teams are particularly considered super teams. I think at this point, Paper X is considered a legacy super team. As far as like EMEA, not too many super teams. The only team that's been labeled that is Vitality. Karmine Corp is probably the closest one, but even then, they have a lot of unexperienced players. So I don't
Mm.
particularly label them that. As far as Americas, again, probably Sentinels is the closest, and it's because they have a couple of Masters winners from last year. They have the core, and then they have Narrate, who won the EMEA trophy, and they have gosh, I'm forgetting the last one. Narrate and Bang,
And
Bang.
Bang, yeah.
He also had a regional trophy with 100 Thieves. So that is the closest to like proper super teams. The the popular example of a super team was the one that was formed last year with the old NRG team, where it was 2 champions winners and 3 Masters winners. So that is the proper definition of a super team. Now, Vitality is being labeled this because Les has won champions. Derke has won 2 international events. Um, Sayf is one of the best players in EMEA. He's won a regional tournament with Team Liquid. And Trex, could you fill me in on Trex's history?
Trex made it to Masters Copenhagen back in 2022. They didn't do too much in with Guild, but he was unbelievable. At like a star player in the making. People knew that, and then that's why people have went after him. He really just has since then. Who has he played for? After Guild, he played with Koi for a bit. Of course, just not really getting
No.
to do much. And even then, he was a good player on Koi.
True.
He followed a Cold Mentor who was his IGL, and Russ, who was also with him on Guild, which they were the two weaker players. He should have went with Leo
Right.
or Sayf or something, but like, he's like a really good player. Like people are gonna see it this year. Trex is someone to watch out for.
Yeah, and then they also got retained kicks. He had previously played with Latarius, and then he was one of Bonker's proteges before that. So he's like the least stellar person speaking on this team, but I think he's still like okay. So it's not bad to have just okay players on your team.
So to me, there's only really, I'd say, two real super teams. There's this team, and there's T1. That's it. Because
Oh, right, I forgot.
yeah, but those are the only two super teams. I don't think I don't think Sentinels can be viewed as a super team. I don't think because my reason is that you need three players that are like could be a top 10 player like in the league already.
Right.
Like top 15. Well, let's make it easier. Top 15. Derka is, Les is, and I believe Sayf is. I already believe he's a top 15 player. I believe, and I won't put Trex in it yet. I believe Trex has the skill level and the ability to be at least a top 20 player. That makes a super team.
Yeah.
Like that, just those three, just Derka, less Sayf. That's a super team. And then Trex isn't bad. Like he's going to be good. And then Kicks, I've only heard really good things about him. I didn't really watch him too much with Team Vitality, but they kept him on with this team. So, and then if you look at their staff, they're supported by like a bunch of coaches and bunch of like they have a manager, they have two managers, they have a head coach, they have a performance coach, and then they have staff. And one of the managers is actually was used to be a YouTuber.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, Bangovic. He did a podcast with Commend and
Oh really?
Bodork.
Bodork, yeah.
Yeah, they did a podcast, but yeah, he's one of the managers. So they have a bunch of like resources are being funneled into this team vitality team.
Yeah.
So
and if you don't know for some reason, Vitality, Karmine Corp, and even Gentlemates to an extent are going all in on these rosters this year because the biggest event of the year, which is Champions Paris, it's gonna be taking place in their hometown, so they want to be there. Okay, I'll say this. I think that they should have definitely signed someone who is a proven IGL. And it's not because I don't like Sayf at that role. It's because there's a huge just like cloud in the air when you think about a duelist player moving to the IGL position. Do you want to know the last time that happened? You're not going to be happy about this. It was Scream moving to the IGL position. Yeah. And that was awful. That was one of the worst teams to ever come about. Do I think this is going to be the case? No, because Sayf has had previous experience at the IGL position. He also wasn't particularly in the like duelist position at the beginning of last season, and they did okay, but not good enough to participate in any international events. So I think because Sayf had to move to that role, then him and Trex were the ones like carrying the corpse of the team over the finish line. Then they crashed out after they had lost to Trace. They won one against Talon, which they should have won, and then they ended up being bowed out by Aspas and company. So there is a lot of question marks when it comes to Sayf's IGLing, but I still think he's a top end talent in the region. Derke, he's still going to be incredible. Even, I mean, yeah, he had some bad matches last year, but there's just too much talent on this team. Even Les, who struggled last year a lot with his with Loud, he was still individually doing pretty well. Like he has not lost any of his talent. So yeah. I do think that there's a lot of talent here, and the problem is that there's a big mirror to NRG, who also had that sort of like a lot of good players on this team.
I was thinking the same thing for like a second. I was thinking, oh, like they might be in the same boat as NRG last year, and they could do the exact same things. The only difference is that first off, Demon 1 had 1 year of being really good. Derke, Les, Trex, like the only person that had like, and Kicks didn't even have like a really good year last year. He just was, but like Derke, Les, and Trex all have had multiple years of good. Like
good performance.
Yeah, like we know who they are. They're not going to surprise us. Demon 1, we thought he was going to be the best player in the world. He only did it for 1 year, not even a full year. And then that makes sense. Now he's like kind of leveling out as a player.
Right.
And then also they were super confused with like Ethan never IGL'd. Like we said, Sayf has IGL'd.
Right.
And I think the difference between Sayf and Scream are personalities. Like not to dog on Scream at all. Like I think he's an insane player. Sayf is a different person. Like if you watch his thing, he's more of a people person. He is fine taking a step back and not getting the kills and have his team win. Like everything I've seen from him, he seems like he's a leader. Like and will that fully transition into an in-game leader? I don't know. I would have to see them play or listen to their comms or something. But they should at least at worst only make, I think at worst they don't make it to Bangkok and they only go to Toronto and also like even thinking like who could even really compete with them like day in day out. I think Team Heretics can. I think Team Heretics can.
Team Heretics. Yeah. I do think that there's my underdog team in the EMEA or my dark horse is NAVI. I know, incredible. I think Fnatic are still going to be pretty solid. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year, or even compared to the year before. That's not going to happen. But I think they're still going to be a solid team in EMEA. If they can beat some of those teams, some of the middle pack gatekeepers teams, they're definitely a top 4 team.
Yeah, if you haven't seen our pick'ems, you can go and watch those. That's just a little bit back, but I'm very much not high on Fnatic,
Right.
and so that's why I'm like, I only believe that Team Heretics can really compete, and that's why I'm like, it'd be so surprising if they don't make Bangkok.
Yeah,
because like they'll have to play Team Heretics in the upper finals. Team Heretics should win. Who knows? But then they should beat whoever's in the lower finals. Like, this is a really good team. This is, like I said, one of the only super teams, because T1 is my other super team, which I think is a super team because they have like 3 really good players. Like, I think some of the best in the world. Like Meteor, I think could be top 3.
Yeah.
And then Buzz, I think, is still an incredible player. I still believe that Stax is close to, like, people were like, oh, he's washed. He's just gonna bow out. I think he's really good. I think people are gonna see that. And so that's why, like, I think T1's also like a super team, but I also don't think they're as good as this super team in like how good they can be. Like, maybe if T1 got, well, it'd be kind of weird to get Buzz and Texture, or like Karen. If they got Karen, then I'd be like, oh, this is really close. T1 and Team Vitality, but I think having that duo of Trex and Sayf with the other duo of Les and Derke, it's just an insane team.
Yeah, I agree. I think the ceiling is super high for this team. I think the ceiling of this team is a champions winning team.
Yeah.
The floor is what people are waiting to see.
I think the floor is like fourth. Like, I still don't think I just couldn't see this.
No, I agree. The floor is 4.
Yeah, like it'd be crazy. Like, Team Vitality put together a team, threw all the money to make sure they guarantee themselves a spot in champs.
Right. All right. That has been our analysis on Vitality, and if they're a super team, we're agreeing that at worst, top 4 team makes champions. At best, oh my goodness. Yeah,
all
a lot of trophies. Yeah. And it should be one of the most exciting seasons for EMEA. We're going to be covering everything on this channel, from Americas, EMEA, Pacific, maybe some China if we get an English broadcast.
I got China. I'll try to figure that one out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so a lot of content here, a lot of creators. We're going to have Command, we're going to have 4TV, we're going to have anybody we can get our hands on. So make sure to subscribe. For Andy, I've been Zeph. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.